Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the research incubator series. Now, this is, like I said in the email I sent out, is an intervention which I personally thought about, and I've been running it for a while now. When I started, I felt okay, I could be doing it, but when I was drowning in my own research, I just said, okay, let me save myself first. And least when I save myself, then I'll be able to, come back. So I think now that I've finished my program, so I felt, okay, I think it's time now to come back to this program and see how to help other people. It's more of how to be of help. Now, in as much as it's more of being of helping, it's also learning from one another. Because nobody knows everything, nobody knows everything. So in the process of sharing your ideas, I share my idea, we learn. And that's very, very important. So I call it the Research Incubator Series, and all we're talking about is the research process, all of things, research process. So this particular show for today, I'm concerned about, like we saw, the issue of literature review, and it's a very important aspect of any PhD, either in engineering, either in social sciences, either in natural sciences, whatever aspect. You need to write a piece of literature. You need to write something that needs to be asked. It is based on that you're going to be assessed for your PhD program. So I think it's critical that we look at this, and in just the time I have, we'll just go through what we need to see and see how to share ideas, how to make your literature review very, very, very valuable, so that you don't get some of the comments I got. If I show you some of my comments, my comments throughout the program, and even my first draft, the comment I got on my first draft, wow. Because you keep learning until the day of your viva. You are still, you are still learning and trying to. So we'll just go ahead and, well, who am I? That's my name. Olushola Ajide is my name. Came to RGU some years, and I've been here for a while, quite a while, but based on my research, the research was going this particular way, then it had to reverse and go that other way. And that actually talks about the unpredictability of research. So whatever, and that's why when people talk about research, the topic and everything, I say, well, let's see how it goes down the line. 2 years down the line, you will see if you are going to still be on what you are seeing. Because what you are hoping that you are working on actually might turn around 360 degrees, and it might be something totally different. So that's that. So today are two objectives: defining originality in research, creating literature review, research questions, and arguments. If I would permit me, I will spend more time on creating the literature review, defining originality research. In actual fact, I did not, based on these slides, I didn't even prepare slides for them. I just have a leaflet which I'll just read out, and we'll discuss and see how that goes. So now, what is the literature review? Now, first I will say this. Your research process principally is concerned with a particular terminology which you hear often and often and often and often. So the whole PhD process, you are being examined based on that. So what is a thesis? Now, a thesis, for those, is just principally your position. You are saying, this is my position regarding whatever aspect. So, for example, for yourself, regarding the issue of female, women or female and leadership. You want to say, this is my position on this particular matter. So you want to bring your position to the fore. Most of the challenges we face in the research process of either we get stuck or not stuck is the fact that we do not actually know what our position is. So not knowing what the position is that creates the problem. You just find out that you're just doing everything. You're just going up, you don't know what it is. And in getting a position, then you now understand the fact that what you are in the research process actually is a debate. Your thesis is a debate. You are actually trying to monitor and trying to bring people together to be able to look at the good, the positive and the negative aspect, the for and the against. So the debate, your research and your thesis is a debate. Now, if there's going to be a debate, then the critical thing in any debate are what? Arguments. So the critical thing are what? Arguments. So you now begin to look at, then that's more of the reason why what we are looking at today, talking about what? Creating the literature review, research questions, and arguments. At any point in time when you don't know what is your argument, you just find out that you are just writing rubbish, like I wrote a lot of rubbish. You just be writing. You just think that, I need to write. And you keep writing and writing, whereas after you've written 10,000 words, you just throw all the 10,000 words into what? Into the dustbin, because it's not why, because you don't get your arguments right. So arguments are critical. Your understanding of the PhD process that is based on your thesis. Your thesis means your position on the particular research you are working on, and understand that actually is a debate. And because it's a debate, you need to have what? Argument for and against what you're looking at. And your understanding of the fact that it's an argument also, your understanding of the fact that it's an argument also leads to the fact of you and understanding of the fact that your PhD process is an argument also leads to the fact that of what we call the claims. You will be making some claims. You will be saying that based on my research, these are the claims. So whatever you are talking about, your PhD process is a thesis. What is a thesis? It is your position. Thesis is not actually an English word. It's more Latin. Is your position about the research you are working on. And because it's your position on that, so you know that it's a debate. So if it's a debate, then you need to have what? Arguments. So if you have arguments, these arguments actually are what? Claims, which you are making. And based on those claims, you're definitely going to have counterclaims against whatever you are arguing. And it's often very said in the research process that your ability to be open to the opposite, not just to be one-sided, and to be discussing the positive and everything is in line with what you just want to argue. You need to look at what are the counterclaims. So based on what we are looking at today, and that's why it's very important that if you understand this, I think that then you actually, I can say 20% of your work in the PhD process is done. Because now you just not be beating around the bush. You know what you are caught out for. You know that, okay, I'm going to be making arguments. The question now is, how do I find the arguments I'll be making? How do I know the claims I'll be making? So if I know the argument I'm making, I know what's the counterclaim of the argument, I know how to make the claims, and what are the claims I will be making, and how to go from there. And when you understand this, then your literature review is sorted. And like I said initially, you will not be like my experience in which my first draft was, to be candid with you, even my first draft, my supervisor wrote, this is not expected, this is not PhD writing. So you are going to hear that a lot, you will hear that a lot. When I started the program, I got a particular email then many years ago. I read that email for more than 20 times. I kept reading it. You will get an email that is very more demoralizing. But the comment is not to demoralize you. The comment is to get you in the line direction. Is to ask, so what did I got wrong? If you are able to get what is wrong, and oftentimes for most of us in the PhD process, what we get wrong is we don't understand this. So because we don't understand this, we are just, like I came up with an analogy which I normally use to describe myself. It's like a man falling from a skyscraper. So what will you be looking for? What can I hold on to, isn't it? You will just be looking. So you find that in your literature review, you just be, oh, this is good. Oh, that is good. Oh, this is good. Oh, they said 80,000 words. Hey, this is good. You're just dragging everything. And when you put everything together, then they ask you, what monster is this? You don't know why, because of lack of these key issues. And that's more of the reason why today's presentation is more about creating the literature review, the research questions and arguments. To know actually what are my research questions and what are the arguments I'm making. If I'm able to get that straight, I believe that you would be fine. All right. Any question to this point? Am I clear?
Yeah. So,
yes?
are you just starting or have you done number one, defining originality?
No, I've decided that defining originality, I'm starting from number two.
Okay.
I'm starting from number two. So number one, actually, I didn't even make slides for it. I just have some leaflets here. We'll just discuss together and share ideas together. Yes?
Sorry, just a quick question. Could you I know
how I came about those?
Yeah.
Okay. I came about this saying that your PhD process, you are asked to produce a thesis. The question is, what is a thesis? The thesis is your position. You are saying, this is my position on whatever field you are working on. This is my position. In other words, in the world, you are supposed to make a stand. This is my stand on that particular issue. And when you talk of your stand, the stand, you need to understand when you have a stand, it means that you're going to be in a debate. Some people do have a contrary opinion. Yes?
When you said your thesis is your stand,
Yes.
does that mean define the gap in what you're doing? Because
And don't go to gap now. Don't make it so complex. Make it as simple as it is. Your thesis, your stand, your position. For example, you are in this class or for this time of lecture. Your stand about this research incubator series is that what? You are for it. So what did you do? You came for it. Do you get the point? It's as simple. Don't leave the issue of gap and all those things. It will sort itself out. By the time I assume, that's my assumption, by the time I finish the literature review, it will sort itself out. When you get a big picture, it's very easy to know what's your gap and what you're looking about. Oftentimes, we don't understand the arguments, we don't understand our claims, so you don't even know what gap. The gap you are claiming actually is no gap at all. So don't worry, I assume that by the time we finish these times together, You get it. It's more of a big picture. You go back, then look at what you have done. Query and critique, because that's what the PhD process is meant for, is for you to critique yourself. You wrote something and you ask yourself, so what I've written, what is this? Does it make sense? Does it build up to the arguments I'm making? And oftentimes, whatever we are writing does not build up to the arguments. So you get the word in which your examiner, your person who is writing, there's no coherence. You are not coherent. You are fluffy, you are going up and down. And I did a lot of that. So if you understand this, everything will be fine. So arguments and claims, those are things.
Debate process.
The debate. Know that the PhD process or the academic process is a debate. So in a debate, there are what? Arguments. And there's those for or those who are against. So the question is, where are you? So you cannot just come and just tell us that, oh, I'm for, without actually saying, well, like they used to say in debates, even though I'm for this, in as much as my opponent has thought of this, there is value in what my opponent is saying. However, the value is not cogent enough for us to take on. So because the PhD process helps you to look at, not just be close-minded, be open to counter arguments and try and look at what value is in the counter arguments and how would we use the value in the counter arguments to enhance your own position. Am I clear? So it's a debate, and in debate you have arguments, and in arguments you make what? Claims. And when you make claims, it means that it could be disclaimed. Do you get the point? Your claims could actually what? Be disclaimed. Someone could tell you, no, nothing is there. So and when you make claims, you are making claims based on, you hear me use that a lot, assumptions. You make a lot of assumptions. You assume. So based on your assumption, what do? You argue. Now, the question, even as you look at the literature review and any journal article you are looking at, the question you are asking, principally, to be able to do an effective and an impactful literature review is to decode the assumptions of the author. What are the assumptions of the author? Say, for example, on women leadership, journal you are looking at. What are the assumptions on, what's the assumption? And now look at it dispassionately and say, okay, are those assumptions and claims valid?
So is that where the theoretical framework comes in, or is that higher up in that?
Well, that principally is not even the framework. You are just looking at what's the face value of what the journal article you're looking at. Any paper you're looking at, any journal articles, maybe in defining your building up your framework, or setting the background, setting the tone to have a background of what you're looking at. You're trying to look at what are the assumptions, because all of us in life we do make assumptions, and in the research process, quite a lot of assumptions are made. In all the journal articles you read, a lot of assumptions are made. So your ability to decode what are the assumptions and to look at those assumptions, if they are valid or not valid, determine how effective and how good you will be as a researcher. Yep.
Like claims, some people might make claims based on their findings.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody counteracting their claim means that the claim they made is wrong. But based on that finding, it can actually be right, but in a different context, it might not be. Or how
you are correct. The PhD process or the research process is more of you making room for yourself. You are making room for yourself. It is now for whoever is going to assess you, either your supervisor or your external examiner or your internal examiner, to agree that the room you have made for yourself is valid enough. That's the so it's more of a subjective process, if you know what I mean. It's not a scientific in which you put things. It's more of you've made a claim, you've made a series of arguments. So the people assessing you are looking at, is your argument coherent? Because when you in debates, part of what you've been looking at is the coherence of the arguments. Is your argument coherent? So you hear each word keep saying, oh, you're writing from chapter 1 to blah, blah, blah. There is no coherence. You are arguing this in chapter 1, in chapter 2 you are arguing this, in chapter 3 you are arguing that. There's no single line of arguments of your position running across. So, as such, your work is thrown into the bin.
So, I'm just assuming that from chapter 1,
Mm.
you have to establish that position and run through.
You from chapter 1, you must establish well your position. So when you establish your position in chapter 1, whoever is reading you is okay, this is the position. The person does not want to see any. Now, don't misunderstand that statement. When I say doesn't want to see any other position, the person is hoping that you are going to be building up on that position, and not to just like I did in my first draft. After I did the chapter 1, chapter 2, then I brought one particular chapter. I just wrote everything and put it in there, and they said, "Whoa! What is this? What did you aim to? What were you aiming at for this chapter?" And to be candid with you, I never knew what I was aiming at. Maybe just to make the 80,000 words. All right. Now, having said that, okay. Having said all those, I observed something from my personal experience, and I think I'll just say it out for us to learn. You must understand, to write a very good thesis, you must go back to the basics. The basics. Now, what do I mean by that? The simple thing about the PhD, when we do a lot of things, we just write. Simple things make it simple. Go back to the basics of what? Those are key things. Very simple. The basic things. Your sentences and what? And your paragraphs. Now, you will be asking, so, but I've taught that since when I was in primary school, so what does that have to do with mine? You're going to be writing 80,000 words. Now, how do you make it to be coherent? Is based on what? Your paragraphs. Now, if your paragraphs are haphazard, there will not be coherence in your arguments. So there will not be a flow of what you are saying, of what you are arguing. So understanding the basic tenets of paragraphing, that what happened, that you have your various things, your topic sentence, which the setting out is a claim. We are going to see how this is. If you understand this, everything becomes easy. Your topic sentence is what? Is a claim. So what do you do when you have topic sentence? Then you have what? Supporting evidence. Supporting evidence to that claim. Then what do you do? After the supporting evidence, and the supporting evidence you are having for the claim could be For example, statistics, anything, this author said this, that author said that, which is and should continue to be in line with your overall arguments. At no time should you lose point of what am I aiming at? But at any point in which you lose the overall argument, you find that the example or supporting evidences you are giving is what? Is at variance with your overarching argument. And at that point, there's no coherence. And at that point, you have lost the person who is assessing you. And at that point, they tell you the work is rubbish. Am I clear? Are you seeing how it's like a jigsaw puzzle? Are you seeing how it fits together? I'm sorry I've not gotten to this, but you see, if you understand this, whatever we see on the slides, it becomes quite very easy for you to know where we're coming at. So when you have that, and you have the supporting evidence, and all those whatnot, then you have for each of the paragraph, you have your wrapping up or what you call the conclusion, which gives a clue to what is going to come next. So this actually is very, very important. And to be candid with you, to be very frank with you, after I got the feedback from my first draft, I started that many years ago, but I stopped it. So I went back to the basics. And so I now know this is where I got it from. Okay, my paragraphing were wrong. So in actual fact, if your paragraphing, there's a way in which you can, what they call it, it's more like a reverse engineering. There's a way in which you can reassess and revalue what you have written and restructure and query it and make it, but I didn't do that. All I just did was to push all I've written out into the bin and start and get it correct. So we're going to just go on now. Our time is all right. So we are good for time. So what is literary review now? All what I'm going to be doing today is based on the writing by Arnold Wenzel. See, you need a lot of tools during this process that will make your life extremely easy. Arnold Wenzel of doctoralwriting.wordpress.com. And this is only, whatever I'm saying today is based on what Arnold Wenzel did, and it's only one of the methods. There could be a series of methods, but this is just one of the ways of which you could decode the literature review, make the appropriate argument, and know that your research question is correct. Because if the research question is not correct, your arguments will be wrong. So it will help you to be able to do. So Arnold Wenzel says the literary review is a series of what? Connected arguments in support of what? The research question. So you now see where I'm talking about now. It's a series of arguments. You are making an argument. So instead of a mere review, which we all do, we just say, oh, this I should review. Oh, I should review. So you just begin to look at you begin to look at anything you can lay your hand. There are a lot of, if you go to my drawer there, lots of journal articles I printed, which actually I didn't even open. And we get busy. We think it's in the busyness that leads to productivity. No, it's not the business. It's knowing what to do that leads to productivity. So it must firmly scaffold the overall argument, which is the thesis, by argumentatively engaging what? The literature. So those are part of the things you hear. You are not engaging the literature when you are very descriptive. And I could say, I could argue, you can argue differently. I could argue that most of us from developing countries, particularly Africa, we are very descriptive. And because we are very descriptive, we are not engaging with the literature. We're not arguing, you're only describing. Author A said this, author B said that. author D said this, author that said that. And by the time you are finished, you have written about 15 or 20 pages. And they now ask, so what's all this? Just describe it. You have not actually engaged.
So how do you engage?
That is what tells you about all this. So as you are reading the paper, you are asking, what is the claim of this author? What is the assumption of this author? What is the argument this author is making? And oftentimes, the claim, the argument the author is making, often, not every time, often, you find it at the last paragraph of the introduction of the journal article you are reading. Often, not every time. What's the position? And you get those, there are some keywords which you can look out for, flagging words. Some of those flagging words you see, when you see those words like thus, hence, those are conclusive words that tells you what the person is arguing. Because he has said series of points ahead. He's now saying, therefore. Now, the person is dropping a bomb. You need to focus on what is he saying here. That is the central theme of what he is arguing. So every other thing is going to be saying in every part of the journal article, it would work. We'll be driving home on that hence, or so, or therefore, or thus.
So where can you find the results?
Well, this is basically often, most of the writings is always in the introduction. The last paragraph of the introduction, or the last sentence actually. Sorry, I didn't bring, I would have, do you have any journal article there with you? Okay, this is the underrepresentation of African American women in executive leadership. What's getting in the way? What's getting in the way by Shanda Beckwith. Now, the introduction. The introduction has introduction and it has rationale and the significance of the research. So the introduction, it says something here. This study, however, has not been undertaken with a sense of despair, but rather with a strategic focus on better understanding the phenomenon in an effort to identify not only the structural barriers, but also proven models that have resulted in increased access and representation of African American women in senior leadership. Now, that sets out what this person wants to achieve. What are the things? She wants to give you a better understanding, isn't it? How? Models. So all these things this paper we're talking about is what? You are expecting, is arguing for models. What are the models? And if you look at that and you could now begin to say, for example, extrapolate that to your research. What models are being used to study women and leadership?
The Glassman theory, intersectionality theory.
Yeah. Aha. So now the question, if they are using those theories, the question now is, what are the claims and assumptions and arguments of those theories? And were those theories applicable actually for what they use it for? Because sometimes most researchers do it. We force the theory. The theory actually is not applicable. But what do? You force it to apply. Now, in forcing it, if somebody could look at your arguments, your claims, and your assumptions, the person could puncture and say, wow, you've made a wrong assumption. Because you made a wrong assumption, you made a wrong claim. And because you made a wrong claim, what are you going to result in? In a wrong conclusion. Your conclusion at the end will be totally wrong. Do you get the point?
Well, I thought that was where the creativity comes, if you force.
Well,
The argument is to contribute, right? And then, because why I'm really here is because I really see this literature review is my total. And I don't know what else to do. So, by the time we were talking about theories today, and then you look at theories, everyone is using it, it looks glorious. And I was okay, I don't want to use this theory because everyone is using it, I want to be contributing. And now someone will say that does not fit. But the whole idea is for you to do what others should do.
Well, you could look at it from a different perspective. Now, don't misunderstand what I said, force the theory. Your role as a researcher is to decode, and oftentimes when we fail is because we have not actually decoded the assumptions, the claims, and the arguments in whatever theory, in whatever literature. If you are able to decode those particular things, you now step back and say, okay, maybe what I'll do is that I'll take some of my materials, maybe send out some materials later out about the issue of decoding of arguments and assumptions, and see how that might be of help, to us. But this actually is the heart of the whole. So let's go on now because of our time. So the person who asks the research question, so what are the assumptions? Makes a number of assumptions, which is what I've been telling you. So what are the assumptions he's making? So your ability to know what's the assumptions and the findings, the assumptions, underlie the question generates the raw content of the literature review. So this is just all what you're trying to look. So what is the assumption here? Are those assumptions, do I agree with the author? Are those assumptions and claims valid? If they are valid, under what circumstances were they valid? Okay, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. You try and, based on this, by the time you're going to be writing, you are not descriptive. You're not just telling a story that Arnold did a research in 2010 about women in leadership, and he found XYZ. Now, if you just write that, you have only what? Described. You've only told us a story. You've only told us a story. You've not actually engaged with that particular literature. What was the basis of Arnold coming to that conclusion? What are the assumptions? And you are saying, sorry, the assumptions Arnold came to write on that actually is totally wrong. So, because of the wrong premises Arnold made, what happened? Then we cannot hold the conclusion. The conclusions are not valid. So, because the conclusions are not valid, then Arnold actually is wrong.
So, can you critique Arnold, for example, based on his methodology? Because
it could be any part you are interested in. Because don't forget, your contribution to knowledge or your originality could be in the aspect of methodology. We are going to see that later, maybe how the research has always been done, and you do your way totally different from what has been done before. Or it could be based on the theoretical contribution which you are bringing to bear on that particular. All right, so let's run now because we have quite, wow, time runs fast. So, how do you now operationalize all these things I've talked about? So, in any research, the first thing that starts is a question. You ask the question, isn't it? Any research is birthed out of question. Why? are natural resources, or why are indigenous companies increasing? Maybe there's a statistic that says what? 50% of indigenous companies, oil companies, have arisen in the last 1 year. Why? So you want to know why that is. So your research question, why has there been a rise in just oil companies? Now, when you make that question, you are making a lot of assumptions to ask that particular question. So the question now is to now know, how do you now operationalize that particular question and go from there? So we're going to quickly look at how do you operationalize the work of your research question. Now, you can look at the question by itself. The question will tell you what are you supposed to look at. So in the question of indigenous companies or nationalized organizations, so that question tells you key things. There's increase in indigenous owned companies, oil and gas, and those are components telling you what are you supposed to be looking at. And you have a particular geographical location. So that's why I asked you initially, what are you looking at? Are you developing countries, or you're looking at and you mentioned you're looking at Saudi Arabia, but that didn't come across in your telling me what you're looking at. There must be a particular geographical location. Oftentimes, that's a mistake we also often make. We make a very broad and vague location or context for our research. Your research should be very, very specific. So I didn't ask you initially. You talk about women and leadership. Women and leadership where?
The US and the UK.
The US and the UK. The question will now be, why the US and the UK? Is it only the US and the UK do we have women in the whole world? So what interests or fascinated you to US and the UK? Do you get the point now?
Yes.
So you now begin to, so you might have to, women, that is too broad. US and the UK is too broad. It's very broad. So you need to calm down. Where? Is it in engineering? Is it in the social arts? Is it in the mining sector? Is it in the academia? Can you now look at it that you need to be very specific and not just to be broad. When you start the research, you can be as broad as possible. But as it's going on, what do? You need to be specific. Particular women. And it could also be women who are single mothers. You are now very specific. I see it's coming down. Because there are categories of women who are married, there are women who are single mothers, who are leaders. You keep going down until you get to a particular one. And that's how you get to, when you get to that point, then you now be asking, what are the things I need to be concerned about? So, second thing to operate a research question is the question by itself will suggest where to get that information from. So if you look at yours now, the Middle East. Now for you now, you've talked about America and what? UK. But America and the UK is broad. So where do you go to in America and the UK? You need to find a way of dovetailing, coming down to a particular, could be okay, in the UK, in Scotland. Why? Or to say, okay, Scotland, there's part of Scotland in America. Some part of people move from Scotland, they move to from America. So, because there's Scottish culture here in America, here in Scotland, and there's Scottish culture in America, and you are interested to see how American culture has impacted on those Scots who left here to go to America. You could see how, so you are just dovetailing to make sure you are very specific, you're not too broad. So whatever you are research or working on now, it's good at the beginning to be broad, but make sure you're looking at a particular context. So the question by itself will suggest by what method to obtain or generate the information. The question we are looking at could look at that. So how do we go about this? How? So, Arnold was suggesting that one way to do this is to take each verb of your research question, whatever question you are looking at, your broad research question, you take each noun, verb, and adjective and adverb in that question and define what that is meant. You keep defining, okay, what are these? So, what is leadership? Women, indigenous schools, what is sustainability in the context of business schools? What is a business school? These are things you're looking at. What is a capital market? Whatever they do in the capital market? So you're trying to make, define what that is meant until the question meets the three conditions, which the one we said initially. After such a process, a question like, what is the secret to success? Now, you agree with me that when you say, what is the secret to success? Success. That's very broad, isn't it? Success where? Secret. What is? So broad. So, and that's this question, what is the secret of success, is the example I'm going to use in the remaining slides to try and apply. So as you are doing that, please be looking at your own research and be seeing how you are querying and critiquing what you have done, and let's learn from that. So what is the secret of success? Now, if we go back to the issue of looking at the noun, verb, adjective, and adverb, or whatever, of what this question is, we could change it, we could turn it to another question. To say, okay, it can become, how can an Australian today, now, can you see what I'm talking about? Is now what? Very specific. He's not talking about us, he's not talking about success in America. He's now geographically, how can an Australian today accumulate 10 million in a bank account by the age of 35?
So we define success as 10 million.
Well, he's assuming that success is only what? Monetary. Do you get the point? Whereas success is not only monetary. So he's also saying that success is monetary, and he's also saying that what? In a particular location. And he's also saying not success 60 years ago. Success today, because there are researchers who are interested in, for example, Haitian revolution. Haitian revolution is what? 1840 something. Now that's what the person is not talking about today, he's talking about what happened in the past, to learn and to keep it. So that is that. So how? The question may be separated into 4 terms. So whatever question you have, you break it down. Say, for example, the example we have now, there are 4 things that came out. How can an Australian do what? Accumulate 10 million in a bank account by what age? 35. So he's not concerned about 40, 50, 60, 35. That's the age bracket he's concerned about. So how? Breaking this question into constituents. Say, how? The method. The method of how do we, where? Location, Australia. What are we looking at? 10 million in the bank. And what? Age of 35. That's what he's interested in. So from that, now you'll be asking the question, and like I told you, there could be many ways, but this is Arnold's way of the example we are using today. Now, you could ask the issue, how do we do this? Arnold is first assuming a relationship that each of the constituents of the research questions assume a relationship. There's a relationship between, what research are you working on again?
It's on renewable energy transitioning from centralized to decentralized energy system.
So,
In South
renewable energy transitioning from
centralized to decentralized.
centralized. So you are, from that question, I'm assuming you are making an assumption that is what it is centralized, and you want it to be
Yeah,
to move to decentralization. Okay, you want it to you want to move to decentralization. Okay, so key there is what? Renewable energy. How? You want to know how, isn't it?
Yes.
The method. So you are assuming that there is a method.
Yeah.
You are assuming there is a method for which it can be moved from centralized to decentralized. And you are, what location are you looking at? South Africa. You are not concerned about the UK. You are concerned about South Africa. All right. So, what are we trying to aim out here? We're trying to look at this. We're going to develop arguments and claims. Do you get? So, I hope you are following what we are doing. So, you might be wondering, what is this? We are trying to operationalize your research question to be able to decode and come up with what? Arguments and claims that will guide your literature review. So you will not just be writing, like I told you, the man that is falling from the skyscraper and looking for what? You just read this, oh, this is a very good article. You bring it and say, and you bring it in. Oh, this is a very good idea, you bring it in. By the time you just bloat everything, there is confusion. The question is, what are the arguments, what are the claims? So we are trying to use this man's example to develop arguments and claims that will drive and guide our literature review. Are we together? Am I clear to this point?
Yeah.
Is there any confusion? I'm too fast? Too slow? Okay. All right. So, assuming that we have 4 parts of our question, and based on the 4 parts of the question, the assumption made again is that each of these parts has relationships. So because there are relationships, that's why he has done this. So yours could be method, renewable energy, South Africa. So perhaps you can say community location. Do you get the point? So you now want to know what is the relationship in between these. What you are doing at this point is you are trying to create arguments and claim as you write your literature review. So you just not be writing blindly, you'll be writing based on what? Arguments and claim. Are we together? So putting all these arrows is assuming there's a relationship. So this is one assumption or argument. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's 6 arguments or claims or relationship which will help guide to build a cohesive literature review and not just be writing. So you will now look from this. Now we are going to be forming assumptions and you see how it works out. So doing this for each of the relations. At this point, you are going to list, it will be A, B, C, D. List. And you are asking yourself, so what is the assumption between method and this? Oh, there's a method. Oh, there's 10 million. Oh, the assumption is saying what? There's a method of what? Of getting 10 million. So that's an assumption. Sometimes if the assumption is so mundane, you might need to just jettison it, because I remember what I was trying to do like this. I came up with how many? Can't remember. But some are so very mundane that you jettison them because it's obvious. You are looking for the not so obvious. Are you getting my point? You are looking for the not so obvious. What argument is not so obvious? That is what you are looking for. If you are able to locate the argument that is not so obvious, now you are talking of something. You have hit the gold jackpot. Are you with me? So, based on that argument, so it's also saying method, relationship. There is a method in which you can, before you get to this age, there's a way in which you can actually make, do this. Oh, in Australia, not in another place, and age 35, 10. So based on all this, let's now look at how it was operationalized and see. So doing this for each relation, you might now imagine the assumptions below. So you now, with all this now, do you now understand why I wrote all this here? You now understand why I wrote all this here? That these are, once you have an understanding of all this, whatever you are doing, you are only fitting the jigsaw puzzle. You are just asking yourself, oh, how did it work out? How did it come about this? So it's making this obvious. After combining the duplicate assumptions, then there will be duplicate assumptions. So whatever is not obvious, that is, you just remove the mundane one, and you now come. So A, which is, can you see those arrows? A, B, C, D. So A, there is a method that guarantees financial success. That's an assumption. You could argue opposite. I say, no, there's not. But that's the assumption this particular author is making. 2, any method takes time to deliver results. And because it takes time, age of 35. So it means that you could not get it under 21. Are you with me? C, most Australians will live much longer than 35. It's an assumption. In between this, oh, you are assuming that what they will live, what if they die before they get to 35? Then they will not get their 10 million. So the author is assuming that Australians will what? They will live above the age of 35. So because if they live above the age of 35, then there's a possibility of them becoming what? Getting the 10 million. D, Australians evaluate success in terms of what? Money. You said it initially that this particular question is assuming that success is only monetary. There could be success in other contexts. E, success is only meaningful if you are still young. That's the assumption this particular author is making. And F, Australia is predictable enough for a method to work. It's an assumption. So at this point, so from this, the researcher will now begin to look at what you are arguing for the non-obvious. What is possible? What stands out? Now, each assumption will therefore be treated as what? The claim of what? Of an argument. So at this point, you will have generated only the claims, which is the assumptions. Now you need to what? A writing plan. Each of these that you have done, each of these forms sections of your literature review. Are you seeing the jigsaw puzzle now? Each of these now forms sections of your literature review. So whatever you are writing, can you see how it will not be out of place? Can you see how it will be forming based on your broad arguments of success? What do you think will be based on, even though it's not stated, what do you think will be the argument of this particular author based on the research question? Or the thesis, rather, the thesis. What do you think will be the thesis? That's our work. We need to do that because if you do that, it will help you. It will help you kickstart your own research. Huh? What do you think will be the position of this author?
How to get rich.
How to get rich at 35? Well, not there.
In Australia.
In Australia, not here.
How
Yeah.
young Australians can get rich.
Any? What's the thesis? You know, let me tell you a story. I went to earlier in my research. I went to Edinburgh University and I met this particular, the guy we're going to be looking at is DS Poole. He's late now. As at that time when we met him, he was saying in his lifetime career, he has assessed or supervised 88 PhD students. He wrote a book, and that's what I'm looking at, How to Get a PhD. And he asked us this same thing I'm asking you. So he says, okay, what are you working on? And he said, what is your thesis? And each of us, he asked a question in the class. Everything we said, he said, no, that's not the thesis. Because we don't actually know what we're saying. So if you are able to articulate your thesis, it will help you not to be going in the wrong direction. As good as anything presents itself to you, what do? You just throw it away and say, no, it does not add up to my argument. So what do you think will be the thesis of this person, which is his argument, his position? Is arguing and position what? Success is achievable. That's the broad one. Somebody who say, no, success is not achievable, and have evidence also to what? To back up what he's saying. But this person is saying what? Success is achievable. And to bring it home, he has brought in the factor of geographical location, in a particular geographical location, based on age and based on a particular amount, and making the assumption that success is only monetary. Are we together? I hope I'm...
Sorry, but these assumptions, they sort of look more like quantitative methods where you come up with hypotheses before you go and start testing if this is. I wanted to ask if, based on what he has produced here, is based on quantitative method. So this sort of sounds...
It's not quantitative. Because what we are looking at or looking for is how do you have coherence in your literature review.
So you have to do that for all questions. If you have like 4 research questions, you have to do that for all questions.
Now, in your research questions, before you come up with 4 research questions, you have a broad overarching research. So here is the broad overarching research question. It is from the broad overarching research question which you got your, because each of the question, these actually are your 4 research questions. Are you getting me? There's a broad one.
Is it aim?
Not aim.
Okay.
Your aim is what you hope to achieve. You hope to achieve what? You hope to get information that will make sustainability more acceptable in business schools. Isn't it? Now, based on that, you are assuming that sustainability is what, not what? Is not achievable in where? In the current climate of business schools. Do you get it? So this actually, even though and I can understand where you're coming from because it seems mechanistic. It seems positivist in the approach of coming to, but it's just a guide. There are many other ways other methods in which people could use.
Sorry, but just based on what you asked her about sustainability, to show that sustainability is achievable in business schools, in a way you've already set out to say, like you said, assume that sustainability at the moment, maybe people think that sustainability is not achievable in business schools, but she's standing and believing that sustainability is in business, sustainability is achievable in business schools, so that's her own assumption.
Yeah.
And that way, in a way, she already has a hypothesis she's working with.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's quantitative. I don't know if you get.
I get your point. Each of these,
explore
this could help. If you could term it out as it could lead to your hypothesis. But don't forget that when you do hypothesis, the same hypothesis could be turned into propositions in the quantitative paradigm, in which you are going to have, for example, if you are doing a mixed method. Are you getting my point now? In which you design research into two categories of there's a positivist aspect and there's a qualitative aspect of it. But this is just to help to kickstart ideas of your argument. That's what this is just. So it's just a method. There could be other ways in which you. So I think we might need to run faster now. Our time. So technique for connecting the content of the literature review. Don't forget, part of the things we are aiming at is a good literature review, an effective literature review that has coherence, in which you hear your supervisor say, oh, there's no argument running across, there's no line running across from beginning to the end. It's disjointed, it's not in sync. So this is just to help you have this line of argument running across in line with what you're doing. So now, what are the techniques for doing that? So what Arnold actually suggested is to insert in between all this, linking them up to form a cohesive argument, and linking them up not with using the word and or furthermore. So let's look at that quickly. Our time now. That's all those assumptions to form. Say success is measured in terms of money. That is what? D. And such success is only meaningful if you can achieve it between the what? Before the middle age of 35, which is E. But unfortunately, this is possible because there are methods that guarantee financial success, which is A, which can work because Australia is predictable enough so that people following such methods will live long enough to apply this method and enjoy their results. Now, that's what the assumptions that he has put together. Are you getting it? Is it clear? So that's all the assumptions put in one paragraph, cohesive paragraph. Now, do you now see that it's not arranged in the sequence of maybe A, B, C, D? Do you get the point? So it's not a matter of it's A, B, C, D, but there is a flow of arguments. There's a flow of arguments based on what? There's a topic sentence, there are supporting evidences, and what? Conclusion. Is wrapping it up, telling you that what? Success is measured in terms of money. Success is achievable. Success is possible. Now, let me run now. Now, this is being explained here. How do you know if there is connection or connectivity or there's a flow between your claims? So, let's give an example of, say, for example, in 1A, the broken line, it means there's a problem. The argument is not syncing. So because it's not syncing, what does it have to do? What I'll do at the end of this, I'll give you the link to this particular write-up online. You can read it up, so at least it's brushed, you'll be able to get a clear picture of what you're saying. So what is it? So in this particular order, claim 2 claim 1, claim 3. There's no flow. So if you should write based on this, your supervisor will be saying that what you are not, there's no flow in your writing. So what you try to do at that point is to make sure that there's a logical flow from 1 to 2 and to 3. So the same applies to claim 2A, claim 2, 3. Now, I might not have the time to explain this, but when you get back to read, based on the link I will show you later, you can be able to understand what it's saying, because our time is. Now, so, can you remember what our aim is with this? What's our aim? The aim of this particular presentation. Literature. What about literature review?
Defining your thesis, know your position, and
Purely just saying, dealing with your research questions and your arguments. And what will now lead to your research questions and arguments, and know what actually should be the components of your literature review. Which, if anything, based on what you have set out is coming up, what do? You remove it. So, in line with this paragraph that is connected together based on their assumptions. Now, these were the assumptions turned into a paragraph. In line with that, what the author now come up to do is now have a structure for the literature review. So, the nature of renewable energy. What's the nature of renewable energy? So if you're talking about renewable energy, there's a need for you to first establish what is the nature of renewable energy. So the nature of renewable energy. Then what are the methods to, you're talking about transiting from centralization to decentralization. So what are the methods of transition? Renewable transition, whatever. And what are the theories? Can you see how it works out now? Now, how do you achieve the transition? Achieving transition of renewable energy from a centralized to a decentralized, which is your aim, which is your objective. Can you now see that if you put this out and it's your literature review section, there will be coherence, isn't it? Everything you are talking about is what? Renewable energy. Say, for example, leadership and women. What's the nature of leadership among women? So, broadly speaking, it means you would have looked at, and you're looking at America and the UK. But now you would have dovetailed to be more specific. Is it among African Americans? Is it among the Caucasian? Even if it's, let's assume it's among the Caucasians. So is it among a particular people living in, say, California, in the West Coast or the East Coast? Where in particular? So what's the nature of leadership among those categories of women? And now, those categories of women, what's their method? How do they lead? The leadership style. How do they lead? Because you want to assess their leadership. What are their leadership style? Are they autocratic? Are they democratic? Are they laissez-faire in their way? Or is it, do they follow the affair, or they just lead based on circumstances? Are they circumstantial in their leadership style? So you need to look at that. Now, how do you achieve leadership? Say, for example, you find out that, okay, the leadership issue, there's something missing. So how do you want to? Can you see how your literature review will be coherent? Do you agree with me? You know, don't forget I told you this is a position. And you are not obliged to accept every position presented to you. That's the academic or research process. you have a right to have a position, a mind of your own, and to say, no, I don't agree with that. And give reasons why you don't agree with that. So, the technique of structuring the literary content. So, the author has now put all those things into just 3 things. The nature of success in terms of money. The success is only meaningful if you can achieve it before the middle age. But unfortunately, this is possible because. And when you use because, when you do the issue of paragraphing, wow. The issue of paragraphing, I said initially, when you write a paragraph, the topic sentence often sets out what are the foregoing, what will be coming preceding. So the topic sentence is your argument. Success is possible. That's the topic sentence. Because the first point, second point, the third point. So as you have said those third points, those are your 3 reasons why you think success is what? Is possible. So, yeah.
So, but if you follow the structure, you won't have enough words to write there.
What do you mean, don't have enough words?
No, if, again, this is my opinion, I feel that after defining those things clearly, then the problem for me is, how do you keep writing to get the required word count?
Now, you see, you are going to have an issue when your concern is about the word count. It's not about the word count, it's about your argument. Have you been able to conclusively present an argument? So don't be bothered. And to be candid with you, I'm one of those persons in which I'm very concerned about word count. Why? Because I'm very succinct when I write. So it's a challenge. So how do I produce the word count? But at the end of the day, and that's the reason why I was looking for everything everywhere, which at the end produced my first draft, it was thrown into the bin. Why? Because I was just writing, just looking for anything. But once you get the argument, you are not concerned about the word count now. You are concerned about what? Your central argument. So you are concerned about your central argument and you are just writing in line with your central argument. When you get to a point at which you feel that you have conclusively convinced, because it's a debate, you've convinced the panel who is going to be reading your work that this is what it is, you stop. It's not compulsory that you get to 8,000 words. And you could write, if you are able to get materials, you can be more than up to 90,000 words. But it's in the value. Is it valuable? Does it aim at your arguments? Does it? Because every particular paragraph that you are writing, every paragraph you have in your whatever you are writing now, you are going to write, must advance the central theme, argument. If that paragraph is not advancing the central theme under any section, what do? You remove it, you get it out, because it's going to cause a problem. So whatever you are writing, if it's one line, one sentence you have written, ask yourself the question, this sentence, does it advance my overall theme? If it does not, you remove it, because it will break the flow of coherence. What we are trying to do here is to have a coherence in your literature review. Are we together? So we need to run now because methods achieving success in Australia is predictable. Now, you are talking about your literature review. Now, this author now gave us examples. How do you now expand? Because your concern, you're thinking that is too narrow. So he's giving us examples. Those claims which he said initially, what the author did here is this paragraph was set out in the table, and the connecting words were removed For each of the keywords, it now puts response triggers. Now, say for example, success is best measured in terms of money. Why money and not something else? Can you not see how you are brainstorming and getting ideas? So, part of your argument, in your thesis, in that point, the first paragraph, what is success? You are defining success. Success is defined by this, by that, by that. You're not going to be. So, how do you get other areas of what success could be? Why money and not something else? So, in your literature review, when you talk about that, that's your theme. The next you're going to be talking about now is to tell us success could be determined or defined in many ways. Number one, monetary. Number two, status. Number three, family. Number four, core, whatever it is. And that will build the section. Can you see how it is? That will build the section. By the time you finish this section, maybe you have written up to, who knows, 10, 15 pages. But can you see that it will be online? Are you with me? It will be online with the broad theme of success is possible. Success is achievable. You will not be saying something out of what you're arguing. Is it clear? Sorry, am I making it? Is it said? Okay. Now the next one, meaningful if you can achieve it before the middle age, which is the second assumption. So why is the youth so important? So all you're going to be arguing, all your argument there is why is the youth so important? So you're talking about what? Many things about the youth, how youth enjoy life, how they do a lot of things. No, don't worry, I'll send the slides to you. So how the youthful life is enjoyable. How you by the time you are, but at that point you are not saying something outwith of your broad argument. Everything is aiming at what you aim to achieve. But unfortunately, these are linking words. But unfortunately, this is possible. But fortunately, this is possible because, so that's the linking one, there are methods that guarantee financial success. Like what? And how do they work? So you now need to tell us methods of financial success. So you can come from anywhere. Method of financial success from the Australian perspective, from the American perspective, even though don't lose focus. The issue of you using a broad funnel of Australian, Glaswegian, Aberdonian perspective and everything is to have a broad spectrum. But you now come down and say, but specifically, this research is concerned about what? The Australian context. In the Australian context, however, success has different determinants. So what are the determinants? You now begin to unpack. Can you see how it is? By the end of the day, you're going to have more than. So now, which can work because Australia is predictable enough. How? Why? How do you know this? And why is predictability necessary? So you're not going to be talking about predictability, the economics. It's a developed world. In the developed world, they work based on rules, regulation, corporate governance of organizations. Organizations are made to what? Blah, blah, blah. The banking system works fine. You now begin to talk about various issues about predictability and how that is possible. I hope this helps. I hope it's helping to see how your own literature review is shaping up. Do you think it's all right? Now and also they are assuming that people will live long enough to apply this method and enjoy their result. Because we are assuming that people will live up to the age of 35. What if there's an epidemic that wiped out people before they become 35? So why do you say that? So You're going to talk about the issue of fact. In Australia, there are what? Good health facilities. It's not like in the developing world that the lifespan. So you talk about what? Lifespan issues, life expectancy issues. Then you extrapolate about that. There is good health facilities. There is insurance. There is government security. People don't have heart attack because what happened? The money in the bank, something happened to it. Are you getting my point now? Now, by the time you do all this, can you see how the fact that all you are doing is a triangle, is going to, you are building the baby, but it's arguing the same thing, and there's coherence in what everything you are doing. Am I clear? All right, so I think we should be running up now. I think this should be my last slide. Wow.
How do you identify the gap then?
How do you identify the gap? That's not what this is. That's not what this is. But maybe I'll give a point on that later. Then now, that's the technique of organizing or writing your review. Now, this is a very, I know I give it to someone that came, maybe I'll look for someone, maybe send out to some people, to you guys. How do you now organize your review? Because the organization of the review is critical. You cannot, even though we have outlined this framework and everything, how do you now make sure that, everything is going the way it ought to be? And that's where this come into play. This is called a literature review matrix. The literature review matrix is extremely important. I don't know if I have, and I don't have time. I didn't set it up. I would have shown you, but we can just Google it. I will have sent out some of the one I have, the template, because you are going to read quite a lot of things. So how do you organize your reading? There's a paper you have read. You read it 2 years ago. How do you remember what you read from it? And that's where the literature review matrix come into play, in which you could, now this particular author, because based on the framework he has given us here, can you see? 1, 2, 3. So he has organized his literature review matrix based on this: the nature of success, methods to achieve success, and achieving success in Australia. That's what he has put as the heading. Then the sources. Abel, Gordon, Lima, and all those things. So, and he's saying, so he has a source. He has a journal article on the nature of success. He has another one by source 3. This source doesn't have anything written on that. So this method, the source 2 and source 4 has something on what? The method. Source this and this have on how to achieve success in Australia. Now, looking at this table or this grid is very clear. It's a summary of the whole work. And this will now help this person in discussing. So when he's going to be writing, when he or she will be writing about the nature of success, Gordon stated that what? The nature of success is blah, 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 blah. After he said that, also this. By the time you are going to be finished, the source will be so long. You're going to be doing your research program for 3 years, 4 years. If you have this, and at the end of the day, you're going to have what? Series of authors on the nature of success. You're going to have on this. When you do that, you now classify and categorize them. So who are those authors? Which authors talk about success, the nature of success in psychology, based on physiology, or based on whatever? You now categorize them based on that also. Can you now see that it's possible to have an organized literature review? And I hope that I hope I have achieved what I set out to talk about. So, any question? I think this is my last slide. Any question? But before the question, I don't have this on. Yeah, go ahead.
Will you send this to us?
I will send the slides to you. I will send the slides to you. If you just mind, just for me to have just your name and email address and student number, so I'll just be able to. Now, I might also I will scan this and also send to you about the issue of defining originality. Now, originality is a key issue in your research in any field in which you are working at. And to be original, your ability to define what is originality helps. And that's what this particular book talk about. Say, for example, defining originality, Francis 1976 from the same book, setting down a piece of new information in writing for the first time, or continuing a previously original piece of work. Most of the time, describing originality continue from a previously original piece of work. At the back of every journal article, some good journal articles indicate further research. And that's actually, taking on from there is actually originality, because they are telling you there's a need for this research. And you are saying this particular author looked at this and is asking for further research. Therefore, I want to extend. That actually is originality. You are extending the work of that particular author. For example, in my own research of corporate community engagement, Bowen, et al. 2010, talks about the need for determining how corporate community engagement, how and the benefit and how it works. So my research is trying to document, trying to show how corporate community engagement work, or why it does not work, and how it works in developing countries, particularly in the Niger Delta. So in that way, based on the request or what Bowen is asking for, I've extended what? And that is originality. In other words, I've provided an account of how corporate community engagement works in that particular region, Niger Delta. So, providing a single original technique, observation, or result in an otherwise original but competent piece of work. Having many original ideas, methods, and interpretations all performed by others under the direction of postgraduates. These are all things I will just send out to you. But let me state out this. Carrying out empirical work that has not been done before is originality. And it's more of the time that what we're looking for. The question is, women and leadership, has it been done before? So if it's been done before, be asking yourself, so what is going to be original about my work at the end of the day? So as you're asking yourself what will be original at the end of the day, it will make you to not go where others have done what they've done. To be looking, you might actually need to leave America and UK all together and say, oh, there's a lot of work in this particular area. I need to look at a different field. Do you get the point? So maybe leadership among Aborigines, American Indians, say for example. It's something that you want to do something that is not you don't want to repeat. Don't now say, oh, they said this. Whatever you are doing, just ask yourself the question, so what's new about it? I'm not saying you should just throw away what you have done or what you have known. That's what I'm saying. Ask yourself, how can I make it different? Whatever you are doing it differently, even if it's been done before, is original. The fact that you are even doing it, do you know it's originality? Because somebody else, even if you are a twin, you will not do the same thing the same way. Do you get the point? So don't be discouraged and say, oh, it's been done before. Yeah, bring your uniqueness, your contribution to that.
So originality now is the gap.
So you just have to identify one gap that's it, or you have to have different.
Well, if what you are doing, say for example, in the transition of renewable, has it been done before? What has been done before? What has not been done? If it's only one originality you can prove, and you document it through your methodology and through the process, and your examiner and your supervisor agree with your arguments, then it's valid.
So, I'll give you an example. So, my work. I think the fact that I'm looking at it in a higher education institution,
Yeah.
and I'm using a methodology that other authors are not using. Everyone is doing quantitative because they have their reasons. But
Yeah.
I'm going to look at it to provide rich data. I'm doing it qualitatively.
Mm.
And I'm going beyond exploratory to explanatory why it's not working.
Mm.
So that's my argument. So the context,
Mm.
the methodology,
Mm.
and the the context, the location, the
Now, all the points you have made, they are valid. It now depends on how were you able to prove. You see, your thesis is a proof. You are arguing, and you are saying, this is my evidence. So how were you able to convince whoever is going to read your work? What claims, what argument did you put forward to say, okay, this is my contribution, and this, and this, and this, and this. Your ability to convince is what is crucial here. Also, using already known material, but in a new interpretation. So I met a friend who is using, in chemistry, is looking at some particular enzymes. Those enzymes have been used in a particular context before. He is now using those same enzymes in a different context. That's originality.
Can you borrow a theory from a different discipline, which in a way is suitable for what you're looking at, and bring it into management? So for instance, maybe something that has to do with, okay, let's say computing, compatibility theory, and then you bring it into management because you're looking at two change initiatives and you're trying to find out if both of them are compatible within a business school context. I mean, that's also, that's not, is originality, but in
method. That's theory, but it's still part of originality, in which you are going to interdisciplinary. You are bringing something from a different field and utilizing it in your method, which will distinct what you are doing, and that's part of contribution and originality.
As long as you can.
As long as you can do that. Yeah.
So it's not entirely yet. I just want to show it doesn't have to be management and just focus on.
No. For example, in my research, in my work, I don't know why, but because it's qualitative, let them not say I don't know why. Let me say that based on my interest and leaning and my interest in the issue of relationship and how it falls out, I try to be creative in analyzing my data. So I brought out some elements of psychology. So because of that, I'm producing a paper now, an interdisciplinary paper with some people in the social sciences department on psychology of my research, which is different. Why? Because I was concerned about the issue of how do the communities behave. Why do they behave the way they behave? I now began to look at, the issue of loss. They've lost their land. So loss. So it took me to now begin to look at, what happens when people are bereaved? So based on bereavement, I went to look at what happens when people are bereaved, all the various stages of bereavement. I now begin to use one of the authors to say, this is the reason why the companies cannot understand the community and why they will continue to be fighting. Why? Because they are bereaved. What happens when somebody is bereaved? There's a loss. And when there's a loss, there's nothing you can do to placate, to bring back the land that you have taken away from the people. So can you now see how it's more than just money? It's psychological. Can you get the point? So these are issues you can unpack. But all right, now let me wrap up now. I'll just send this out to us, and I'll just send this out to us, and that will be all. Is there any other question? Any question? I hope you find this helpful. I hope it's helpful. I hope it will help you advance your literature review. I hope that this is March, so I hope that by in the next 2 months you will have been able to have a very broad template of your literature review that will guide, so that your writing up and what you are working out now will be very pointed, and your supervisory team will be able to see that your arguments are coherent and they are focused. That's what this particular, perhaps, I don't know how soon and what time we'll find out. We might look at the issue of how, maybe next time, how do you find the gap? Because it's always, all of us are looking for the gap, isn't it? And that's what you are always concerned about. So thank you very much. Please write your name, and thank you very much for coming. I hope it's been helpful. All right, thank you. Yeah.